Hey everybody, this is MTG Commander, and I'm here with another EDH deck. Today we've got Zedru the Great-Hearted. Zedru is strange, to say the least. He donates things and gains life and lets you draw cards equal to the amount of things you've donated to all your opponents and stuff. I think he's a lot of fun. He's really, really cool. That's what I think. However, I've got from a lot of people that lots of people don't like his deck because he's kind of silly and he's group huggy until he wins, and then I don't know. With my meta, it's with the group I play with, the meta it's a bit strange, but I like him. The alternate for him is Numot, but Numot's just Numot, and the other one is Ruhan of the Fumari. I hope Fumuri. Eh, he's a card. Anyways, I like his ability. I think he's the wrong colors. He really should be red, blue, red, white, and green, because his abilities don't really go with blue at all. And I understand, like maybe you give him with Zedru, and you use one of the vows or something on him, but really he's not. He's not good. I really don't like him. As those colors, and I mean his cost is good. I think everything else about him I like. He's a 7/7. That's beast. Comes out turn 4. Turn 5 you're swinging with the 7/7 at someone randomly. But with the colors that it has, it doesn't have a lot of support. Now onto the creatures. There's some pretty okay creatures. I really liked Spurn Mage Advocate. He's really cool. I mean, there's Wall of Omens, Fog Bank, Dominus of Fealty. It's a strange deck, to say the least. But I really do like it. It's fun to play with. Nin, I think, is the best out of all of them. She's really cool as being her own kind of general. And I've already seen a deck, and I'll be posting a deck soon, hopefully, on her as a general in a deck. She's really combo-y. There's that thing with Stuffy Doll you can do, stuff like that. Veldikant Plotter is perfect in this deck. So is Wall of Denial, Plume Veil. This deck has a really good amount of cards. Windborn Muse. I don't know why Rapacious one is in this, but okay. Whatever. Sure. Why not? Arbiter of Null Ridge. And then Chromeshell Crab, I think, is one of the better creatures in the deck. Only because it switches with something else your opponent controls. Brian, I've always thought is an amazing general. I've never been able to make a deck out of him. White-blue is really the weakest color combination in terms of making good decks. But I really like him a lot. And, of course, False Prophet. And here we've got our artifacts and enchantments. As I said before, I'm a very big fan of Soul Ring in the decks. I think it's a really good bonus that Wizards has given us by printing them again in these. Fellwar Stone I think is great. It's also kind of a good thing to donate if you're being a group huggy. You donate the Fellwar Stone to your opponent, and then they can produce any color you can. It'd be interesting to see if you could make a colorless kind of deck with colorless lands and a bunch of like tap artifacts to make colored mana with Zedru, and put that in there and laugh as they can't produce anything but colorless. Howling Mind fits this deck perfectly, as in you can give it to someone and not care because you get the draw effects anyways. I've already said that I've loved Lightning Greaves, and I think it's good on this deck too. Dreamsphere Hedron is very good. Darksteel Ingot is a great card. I think it's really, really good. I have it in a few other decks. It's a great mana rock. Champion's Helm is a new card. I really like it. I think it's good. It's relatively cheap, 3 for this thing, and then 1 to equip. And your creature gets +2/+2, and hexproof is it's a general or a legendary. I think it's good just because, I mean, you can use it with Zedru or any of the other generals. Let's see, what else is there? Prophetic Prism is decent. I really like Snowstare. I don't know if I'd ever play with it, but I like it. Journey Nowhere is cool. Again, with the vows, still not sure. In this case, it seems to be you can enchant your opponent's creature and then give them the vow, and then you don't give a shit because you've donated it, and you're gonna get to draw an extra card and gain an extra life, and then they can't hit you with that creature at all. So it's good for you. I really like that they've put Ghostly Prison in and Propaganda. Propaganda was an older card and it was a bit harder to find for some people, but the two of them together are really great and they fit well in this deck. Again with another vow. In this deck, I can see more enchanting your opponent's creatures and then giving them the enchantment. I mean, it's kind of just funny to be, if you think about it. Ghostly Prism's another one of those good cards. Crescendo of War. I don't know about this card yet. I think I want to play test with it, but I think it can be it's I think it's like a sleeper hit kind of. It'll sit on the table and no one will really care about it until it has like 10 counters or something, and then all of a sudden all your creatures get +10 +0, and people shit themselves. Really, that's what it seems to me to be like. And of course, we've got Martyr's Bond, which is one of the new cards next to Crescendo of War. Martyr's Bond is pretty good in itself. Uh, I like it. It's kind of like a Karmic Justice, but it affects itself and other things you control. And it's also kind of like Grave Pact. I might be throwing this into one of my decks, but I'm not sure yet. But what I can tell you is I like it. Okay, and here we are with the instants and sorceries. A great one, Brainstorm. Okay, Flusterstorm. I like this card a lot, and I just like it because of the silliness I can see it happening with. There's just a counterspell battle going on, or a bunch of people are applying at the same time, or someone goes infinite and buybacks and like a spell over and over and over, and you just wait, and you have that 1 mana, and when they're done, you just go, new. I counter everything that just happened. Just take control, and I think it's hilarious, especially if there's one part in the chain that you just don't want to happen, and you go, no, I counter this, and it has Storm, and I use all the copies to counter that one too. Lash Out is great. Punishing Fire. Pollen Lullaby. Pollen Lullaby is a good fog. I really like it a lot. Perilous Research. This one's good because there's a lot of things that in this deck where you just take your opponent's stuff, and then you can draw 2 cards and sacrifice one of their things, and it's just like, I got rid of one of your things and I got to draw 2 cards for 2. It's pretty good, especially if they have something very dangerous and you only have it for, let's say, a turn. You can sacrifice it, and then draw 2 cards off of that. It's got a lot of stuff that's semi-controlling. Oblation, I think, is an amazing card in EDH. And it should be in every deck that runs white. Let's see. Chaos Warp. Chaos Warp is another one of those really fun cards, kind of like Flusterstorm. I like it a lot, not only because of its versatility in targeting any kind of permanent, but let's say you have a Radiate in hand. Radiate lets you, for every, you target a spell, and for every target that spell could target, you make a copy that targets that. So what you can do is if you use Radiate and Chaos Warp, it's effectively a Warp World for 1 less mana at instant speed. And I think that's hilarious, because there's nothing like your opponent going off and then you going, nope, let's see here, nope, I Chaos Warp the whole field. Everything goes into your deck, shuffle it out, now we have all new field. I think it's great. The instance in this is pretty good. I find that this deck is a lot more group huggy, and I think it has to be to survive the amount of attack and stuff that people are going to throw at it. But I think it's really good. Here are the sorceries. Sorceries are fun. I think Trade Secrets is a lot of fun, especially if you have an opponent who's conspiring with you. Death by Dragons is hilarious. Austere Command is another one of those great cards that they've printed. It's great because it's so versatile. It can be a Wrath of God. It could be just destroying enchantments, just destroying artifacts. I know this didn't see a lot of play when it originally came out in the Lowen block, Uh, but I really think that it's great in EDH because it might be a bit costly at 6, but you can do so much with it. Insurrection is amazing. I think it's hilarious, especially in this deck. Especially if you give out a whole bunch of your own things and then take them back later with Insurrection. And spell scribbing, uh, don't care for it really, unless like you can go infinite and make them draw out their whole deck. Just doesn't seem like a that great of a card. Seems too group huggy for the cost that it has. And here are the lands for this deck. Again, Command Tower, I think it's amazing. There's not much more you can say about it aside from it being great in every multicolored deck. Uh, the bounce lands I thought were really good in this. The only thing is this deck really has a very low amount of non-basic lands, and I think that's fine. Um, especially because of its general. You can give out lands to your opponents, and that's kind of group huggish. That'll keep them off your back while you still get to draw cards and gain life. Uh, but it also doesn't allow for a lot of versatility. In the utility lands that you could have. I mean, I'll complain about it. Maze of Ith in every deck would have been amazing, and and as unfeasible as that is, maybe this deck could have deserved it a little bit more than the others. There are a few cards that are really good. I don't see this deck needing many utility lands, but something like Maze of Ith or Winding Canyons can really make it a lot more entertaining, as much as those are very powerful lands. This deck doesn't have a lot of power to it aside from group huggy and hoping people don't go, oh, well, we'll all just team up against you and kill you. So this has been MTG Commander and the Political Puppets EDH deck. I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment, like, and subscribe.